Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this very great opportunities, I'm going to present my research proposal entitled Enhancing Student Speaking Skills Through Realia, Classroom Action Research. Well, I'm going to begin with the background of the study which is involved in the chapter 1. Let's get started. Okay, based on the interview with the English teachers of SMN 10 Kota Tegal, they say that their students, especially the 8th graders of SMN 10 Kota Tegal, have low motivation in learning speaking. Based on the case, I'm going to raise this case to be studied in my study. Uh, as defined by Young and Ahmad in 2017, speaking is one of the most important skills to be developed as a means of effective communication. Besides, media has an important role in supporting teaching and learning process. There are so many kinds of media such as realia, pictures, boards, flip charts, and internet. And I'm going to implement realia to be the teaching media in teaching speaking. As defined by Bella 2015, realia are any objects, information, or fact discovered in daily life that is utilized as a teaching tool for the English language. And the use of realia will promote more dynamic and imaginative teaching and learning in the classroom, as claimed by Sabit 2018. However, using realia has drawbacks, such as students will find it difficult in pronouncing some words due to their limited vocabulary, and the teacher will take lots of time to prepare the media if the media isn't discovered in the classroom. And then previous research on the application of Realia to enhance student speaking skills was carried out in certain situations. And in order to increase the generalizability of the research, I'm going to attempt to determine how student speaking skills develop when they use Realia in wider environment. As a consequence, the researcher will conduct this study in the scope of junior high school students. The next is research question. There's only one research question, and it is how does Realia improve student speaking skills in English classroom? And then the research objective. The research objective is to find out the improvement of student speaking skills by utilizing Realia in English classroom. The next is significance of the study. There are two significance. The first is theoretically, which the study can be used as a reference for those who want to conduct in the similar study, similar topic, and then practicality. For the students, they will become interested in learning speaking. For the teacher, they will consider to implement Realia in teaching speaking, and for the reader, they will understand about the benefit of using Realia in speaking English. The next is key terms. Enhancing. In this instance, enhancing refers to the goal of the study, which is to improve students' speaking skills. And then the students refers to the subject of the study, which is the 8th graders of SMP 10 Kota Tegal. And then speaking refers to the skills or aptitudes that the students acquire after studying English. And then the next is skills. Skills here refers to the competencies or abilities that the students develop through the process of learning English. And then the next is through Realia. Realia is the media that will be utilized in teaching speaking. Okay, next, chapter 2, literature review. There are several literature review or the previous studies that the researcher gathered to reinforce this study. The first is study conducted by Hermawan and Amri 2018 claimed that the use of realia as media in learning process will make its process more memorable and enjoyable because students are allowed to use their senses. And then the next is study conducted by Amumpuni 2019 found that realia creates a conducive learning environment in the classroom. Students become engaged, excited, and motivated during the teaching and learning process. And then the next is study conducted by Patau 2017 claimed that Realia is shown to aid students in learning how to express things more fully during the learning process. And then the last, we have the study conducted by Satyadi and Firman's 2017, found that Realia helps the students talk more fluently and correctly with proper grammar and pronunciation. And then the next is chapter 3, method. A classroom action research will be employed in this study, which is involved in the research design. And then a total of 20 students from the 8th graders of SMN Bulukuta Tegal will be the subject of the research. And then the next is instrument. There are three instruments that will be utilized in this study. The first is observation, the next is test, and the last is recording. First observation. The researcher will observe everything happen in the classroom. And then the test, the researcher will give the students a speaking test at the beginning of the class to determine the student's speaking skills. And then the last is recording. The researcher will record the student's performance when they are describing the puppet. And then the next is data collection process. Therefore, data collection process, there are planning, action, observing, and reflection. Planning. The researcher prepared the materials and any media that will be utilized in the classroom. And then action, the researcher provides the material that is descriptive text, especially describing a person. And then the next is observing. The researcher will observe the students as they work on the assignment. And then reflection. The researcher will identify the strengths and weaknesses on using Realia. And then the last is data analysis technique. There are two data analysis technique in this study. The first is observation data, and then the second is test data. First, observations data. In this case, the researcher will focus on the student's attitude toward the learning process, and then it will be utilized an observation sheet and then test data. The researcher will determine the efficacy of employing Realia and administered a speaking test at the beginning of the class to obtain the student scores. And then the researcher will record the test by using a cell phone. So the recording is involved in the test data. And this is the reference that the researcher uh, cite. I think that's all about my presentation. Thank you so much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.